Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast. I am your host, TJ Hafer, and with me is our awesome panel, including Rose.
Hello there.
Including Lambert.
Hello there.
Including Father Loris.
Hi. Hello.
And joining us as our very special guest this week, we have Romain. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it is. Hello, everyone.
He is the head of Amplitude and the creative director for Humankind.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be flipping the script a little bit today. We're gonna spend the first part of the show talking mostly about Humankind, and then we'll wrap up with our usual grand strategy news at the end here. But yeah, Romain, do you want to sort of introduce yourself and tell everybody kind of what you do on the project?
So yeah, I'm Romain. So I'm one of the founders of the Amplitude. Basically, we created it like nearly 10 years ago, and I've always been the creative director for the company. And actually, since we joined Sega, I also became the head of the studio as well. And actually, the whole goal for Amplitude, for all of us, because we're big fans of 4X, was to be able to just create the games of our dreams at the time, actually, when they were not so popular anymore. So that's the whole reason for being here.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate having you here. I think we'll start with the new Civ that was revealed since the last time we recorded, which is Ming China.
Yep.
So we have another Asian Civ. There we go.
Yeah, it looks like we got a fair bit of East Asia going on in the early modern era here. So their aesthete is sort of their description. Romain, how would you describe the aesthete playstyle? We've speculated about what these different words mean in the past, but what's from the horse's mouth? What does that mean?
It's basically, to make it simple, it's kind of the culture way of playing the game, basically.
Excellent. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's not fun ways to basically to find beauty around you. So we will see. That for us, culture is beauty. But basically, it's I think to try to expand a bit around the concept of culture.
Excellent. And then they get rockets, which is awesome.
Yep.
What are some situations that this unit will be like very useful, you think?
It's a form of artillery unit. So basically, it will be situation where you will not be obviously on the front line. It's a great support unit that you can have in the game, actually. And actually, it's a kind of an early artillery as well.
And it looks like it's much better against fighting units than fortifications, considering it talks about breaking cavalry charges.
Cavalry will be extremely good against archers, artillery. So obviously you don't want to face cavalry with that. It's definitely is good against other units.
Got it. And then we have the Grand Tea House. What is this going to do for us? Why would you build one of these?
You get me on the spot there. It was the commerce. I don't have it in front of me because I think normally the tea house used to be a commerce building. Now the thing is, with its teeth, we often have to change a bit some of the gameplay around that.
Okay. Clearly, it just makes you cultured because everyone who drinks tea is cultured.
Yeah,
it's how it works, right?
Only a British thing, So
yeah.
It's not like we're some heinous coffee drinking heretics after all.
Do you part of that lovely culture that stole tea?
Look, nah.
Yeah.
Look, you're part of that culture too.
I'm more removed from it than you are. There's a reason my ancestors left those isles.
So maybe you
you should in the river. You don't get a say in this.
Sorry.
I prefer beer and whiskey, to be honest. That's my jam.
Yeah.
But,
I like cider.
Cider's good.
I'm trying to imagine like the cultures you will pick, when playing Humankind. Actually, will be quite insane. It's about the drinks, basically.
Yeah.
It's my choices are entirely based on like the beers
Yeah.
and drinks, basically.
Yeah. Emblematic units, I don't care. I just want to know what they drink.
Yeah.
So
Early era is about whoever fermented for first wines and stuff.
that'll be like an ideology mod. I bet somebody will just make coffee, tea, wine, and beer different ideologies.
What, like scale, like
you know what
beer?
I think is the real heresy is while we do have tea and coffee as resources in Humankind, there's no chocolate.
It's true.
That's a good point.
It's true.
That is pure heresy.
No, we're definitely going to be in agreement on this one.
We'll have to work on that. Yeah.
Wow, Lambert, we're in agreement with something?
I know,
mean-
it's crazy.
So first DLC is going to be the coffee DLC, the chocolate DLC.
Yeah. I mean, there are Aztecs in the game, so yeah, it would fit.
True,
Yeah. So
We need
Start out
chocolate.
as a smoked product and then end up as a drank product,
Taking
eaten
notes.
product. Yes.
Also,
So,
bringing it back to Ming, Cat and Ninetails
Yeah.
would like to point out that the Great Grand Tea House, you're only building it to attract the spiffing Brit.
Ah,
that's a sensible goal. You know?
Yeah,
He's a cool
totally.
dude. You want him to play in your game. Yeah. So, I think the other thing I kind of wanted to really hear a developer perspective on this, the way that you guys are doing open dev,
yep.
which is if anybody here doesn't know, it's basically a program where you can sign up to test like mini scenarios that focus on a specific area of the game. It's really not something I've ever seen before. Like, we've had early access and things like that in the past, but where did you guys come up with the idea to do open dev the specific way that you're doing?
So I think interestingly enough, it's like we were the first ones to do early access on Steam. Actually, it was called like Play the Alpha at the time, and we kind of a guinea pig on it. And we love to be guinea pigs. Actually, whenever we can try something new, we love to try it. Sometimes it's a great success, sometimes it's not. But there, in that case, it was amazing. So we did quite a few games with early access. So we did Endless Space 1. We did Dungeon of the Endless Legend, Endless Space 2. And what was very frustrating for us is whenever we wanted to talk to journalists, while we were doing that, most of the time they were saying, "Well, I played, the early access. You can't tell me more about it, And it's true because everything was in the early access. So we the only thing is it was kind of a closed loop between our community and ourselves, which was great for the game, but it was not great to get people to know about the game. So that was one which was very frustrating for us, and we wanted to find ways around that. Now, the other one, which was extremely tricky as a developer, was that when you're in the early access, you have more or less the full game there, and you get feedback about the full game all the time. And you can't always cope with it. You can't give fixes quickly enough. You can't add content quickly enough. Actually, it's very difficult when you still have more content to produce. I think it's fine when you finish developing content and you're just fixing and polishing. But in our case, most of the time, we're just finishing the game more or less the day before shipping. So it's very difficult to be able to do that early access while finishing content. So the more we're doing early access, the longer the games were taking. Humankind took like more than 4 years actually. So probably it's not helping much on that side, but at least it's probably because the game is just huge. And so yes, with that chaining system, we wanted to have scenarios that were focusing on gameplay areas. So when we get one scenario, we get just people focusing on one element of the game, give us that feedback on that, and so we can just focus on fixing that and then moving on to the next one. So much less messy, much better organized for us, better for communication, better for having people talk about the game as well. So it's, I think what we want, and we just want to make sure that the day we press the button to ship the game, that's, we know what people like and don't like about the game. We know what works and doesn't work, so we don't have any surprises. And I think this is what we're getting with the Open Dev.
I think it's a really interesting idea. It reminds me a lot of very, very early demos. You used to get very, very curated little parts of the game. But this is like a huge expansion on that concept, right? And then integrating that into sort of community feedback. Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it certainly feels very different to early access, because you look at most of the games on early access on Steam, it's like it's just the game that you're playing, just an early version of the game. There's no real way for you to give feedback on it other than Steam reviews, which aren't very good. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Whereas this way, it's like, okay, we've got a scenario where we're playing a very select scenario, and then you give feedback on that one thing, and it's all self-contained, so you're getting feedback on that specific area. Whereas, like say, with early access, it's like, here's just the game, and it's what we've created up to now. And I don't know, this way just feels like more about what early access should be. So congrats for that, I guess.
Thank you.
The game is still alpha.
Yeah.
We're still at least 9 months, a year out. I don't think y'all have told us when it'll come out in 2021. But
I can't tell you that, but I can tell you that we'll tell you soon. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but it's at least 9 months, if not more, probably.
Probably.
And so it's not even a beta, which most people think of signing up about. It's an alpha, which I don't think has ever been put out for the public to sign up to try and play. Such an early build.
Yeah, in our case, we always actually had alphas when we went live with early access, and again, because if you come too late, you don't have time to address the content basically, and what you don't want to hear is when you finish a feature, you think you're home safe and it's finished, but someone tells you, well, it sucks. It's just like, okay, that's it. Yeah, but I just finished it, so you don't really want that. You want to have the game in such a state that people can test it, and if they don't like something, you don't have to waste all your work on it, and you can just throw a bit of it, redo it, try to understand, but to polish something that people will hate is a bit pointless.
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed, because so the first scenario, which I think everyone here pretty much has played at least once, is the Babylonians, and it's kind of focused on city building and exploring your surroundings in the ancient era. One of the things that was actually nice about it, because it's a more focused scenario, is it kind of walks you through placing extensions and exploration and outposts and technology and kind of these sort of basic, fairly familiar for a 4X player things. But then there's a lot of other stuff that is not switched on, religion and things like that. And I found that kind of nice to start with. I'm curious, when the full game goes live, have you guys thought about how you're going to sort of ease people into not feeling overwhelmed by having all of those different things coming at them at once in the ancient era?
So it is obviously one of the biggest challenge for any 4X, because your games are so huge that you could either be bored because you don't have enough to do at the beginning, and actually sometimes it is the case, especially for most of us, developers working on the game, we tend to have like a few thousand hours on the game when we ship it. So obviously we tend to become quite a bit of experts, especially of the beginnings, because we do a lot of beginnings, and sometimes we have a tendency to add a bit more gameplay too soon, because we just know the game so well that we want to have all the tools to play with very soon. As a new player, obviously, when you arrive and you see all of that, as you say, you're just overwhelmed. And I've seen people just, looking at everything, popping all over the place and just going quit right away. It's like, sorry, it's not for me. So it is always basically our challenge. The only, it's, and the problem is in our games we have a lot of different profiles of players as well. We have power gamers, we have people that will buy 1 or 2 games a year, and they want to buy the best 4X of the year, and they play maybe with their kids on the laps, and so they want it easy, and we have quite a few stories of that, and so basically, to please everyone is difficult. For us, what we tried already to do with Endless Space 2 and even more with Humankind is obviously to look on how we can ease the player in. For example, if you look at the Neolithic that we added, which is a lot about the exploration. It's one of the ways for us to introduce just a few of the gameplay mechanics, and also not to put you under too much pressure right away. So you have the time to get into the game, appreciate the mood, discover your surroundings, hunt a bit, then decide, to build your first city in one of the cool places you found. And not say like, damn it, if I didn't build the first round, I've lost. So
I think that's one of the most wonderful innovations for Humankind is the Neolithic era, right? It's in a standard 4X games, even like in Endless Legends, it was such a important thing to settle your town within the first couple of turns, ideally the first turn, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much of any 4X game where you're not starting settled. If you don't settle in that first or second turn, you fall behind.
It's so exponential.
Especially in tech.
Yeah, I think there were some ways that other games got around it. I think the Polynesians in Civ 5, like they would get a ticking science bonus or something if they waited longer to settle. But yeah, it always has been kind of a thing where I feel like I'm playing wrong if I'm not settling my first city right away.
And then you need to generate a world that allows you to settle right away, because and also it's changing how the world is fair. So it's.
It also removes a lot of player choice, really, because you want to have your capital in a nice location with the right terrain, and inevitably, when you have to settle on the first few turns, you find a better spot like down the line, and it's like, oh, okay, I wish I settled there.
Even worse,
Neolithic era, you've turned the exploration into its own gameplay style, and also given you the opportunity to find your perfect spot. Decide if you want to settle on a river or a coast or in the mountains or in a desert, and it adds a lot more player choice, I think.
Yeah,
we can say that even worse when
is that once you can build outposts later on and connect them to your capital city, and then you can build collect resources and build. I keep wanting to call them districts. I know they're not districts.
Extensions, I think, is what Humankind calls them.
You can build them around these outposts. So even if if you discover at another point that your city is, a great spot, but it's not the best spot, you want that next area over, you can build an outpost and attach it to your city, and you've got everything that you wanted. It's an entirely different sort of way of building from what I'm used to.
Yeah,
the ability to move your outpost as well. You can just you pop down your outpost, and then I found a place that is actually way better, and I do plan on making this place a city. So just move it. It's great.
Yeah, which is part of a bit of our philosophy overall at Amplitude. We want to make sure, you never feel punished, for deciding a bit too quickly sometimes.
Yeah,
even worse when you've settled in other 4X games. You've settled your city. real quickly because you kind of have to. And then you find it, your next place where it's like, oh, I wish I'd settled here instead. It's even worse when that is just too close to the city you've just settled, so you can't even put a second city there.
See, this is why the roving clans are the best faction on Endless Legends. It's just, you never have to worry about that. You just get on your giant bug and you wander off to that much better place.
But so it's funny because I love the roving clans, but actually a lot of people were saying that if they were cool, they were actually quite useless. Did you manage to do some good stuff with them?
Yeah. Well, I was like first try to settle in a nice fertile place and get the population and stuff up, and then later on in the game migrate to like a desert where you could really stack up all those gold bonuses.
Cool.
So I don't know. I absolutely love the roving clan. Or move closer to like another player, especially if like the trade wasn't very good.
Okay.
And when you unlock the docks, the production bonuses from the docks, so I would move my city to the coast too. It's just so many little gameplay things you can do with the roving clans.
The outpost system in Humankind is actually something that it took me a little while to get my head around. Not the outpost system necessarily, the fact that you can choose between founding a new city or attaching it to a current city. Now that I've played the open dev scenario a little bit more, it kind of seems like the logic behind that is if you can build a productive chain of extensions to the new territory, then it makes more sense maybe to do it to add the new region to your existing city. Whereas if there's like a lot of unproductive land between your city and that outpost, it makes more sense to found a new city. Yes. Is that kind of the logic you guys have seen internally as well?
It's. I think the first logic is that we want to give you the choice. Well, first of all, I think it's fun to be able at the beginning to fight a bit, with your neighbors for on territory, but in a very easy way. Mm-hmm. It's very so it's all right to lose, claim territories. It's a way to claim quickly territories. So that's one thing. Now the thing that we wanted to do with it is, of course, I don't want to have like 20 cities to handle at the end of the game. So I wanted to find another way to make it all about the land, and to handle always more or less the same number of cities, in any game. And for me, that would be between 3 and 4 cities. I'd love to be always to be able to handle that. And by conquering, new territories, what do? So should I create new cities there? Should I attach these cities to my existing cities? But at least I can have these choices. Whenever I decide, I should simplify, I can simplify, but not lose about, the productivity that it will bring me.
No, it's quite an interesting way of cutting down on micromanagement, right? Which is always a big problem with 4X games.
And I hope it will be for us, a good way to go until the end game, basically, and not feel that you have to give up because it's just so boring to handle all these little details. That's
right. Yeah, I remember back in the days of the early Cibs where infinite city spam was very much a thing, and the amount of micromanagement for 80 cities was just
because that's every tile had to be used, right? So
yeah, exactly. And every turn it's like, oh, okay, just stick them on research and forget about them.
Well, and then you can also have the 2 cities combine. Unless you guys mentioned that, and I just totally spaced. I apologize.
No, because it's a very different logic than other 4X games. In terms of how I'm going to use the land, if I have a river that's running through multiple territories, I could see how that would make sense. I'm going to build a mega settlement that kind of winds along this river, which I thought was kind of cool. Whereas if I start in the middle of the desert, and there's a lot of desert tiles between, where I started out and the next good outpost location, I can see where it would be more okay, I'm going to have a lot of smaller cities this game, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, and then also it's just also very realistic from how a lot of real world cities have grown.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you see like bigger cities absorbing like smaller cities, I think it's what happened all the time. Actually, even the city of Rome itself, it was 7 villages, that were all absorbed into one bigger city. And I think if we look at all the cities we live in, it's more or less the same. So to me, it makes a lot of sense historically, and of course, in the gameplay wise, I think it's a lot better.
So how did you guys select what the scenarios were going to be for open dev, and what's kind of the logic behind each one?
So
at least the ones we know about so far.
It's so right now there's I think there are some innovations that we tried in the game and we know they work. Through our VIPs, even you guys when you were able to play the map for the journalist access. I think a lot of things that we tried with the fame, with the convention of cultures. We're 100% sure of how it works. The balance is something else, but we're sure of the mechanic. Now we did a few changes on the economy. What you described is one huge change, but also a lot of little nifty, just the way population works, for example, is very different from what we did before. It's much flatter than it used to be. It's not as exponential as it used to be. So basically, a population always has the same cost. So it just kind of details. We wanted to get players' feedback. And see how they reacted to it, to be able to go quite larger on that and fix any issues. Interface also as well on the city interface. I think we've done it like 3 times. So I think we're getting closer to what we're happy with. But again, we want to get as much feedback as we can before we lock it. So I think what I described is for the first scenario was, the most important for us, and it is one of the most important elements for the game that we need to get right. Now something else. We had a lot of players, not everyone, but a lot of players complained about the battles from Endless Space or Endless Legend. For me, my philosophy with the battles before was that 4X are not about war. They're about you building an empire, and your empire sometimes has to go to war. And when that happens, so maybe it was a bit naive, but I wanted to see it to be a show, basically. It's a reward. It's like the last battle of Star Wars. It's just spectacular. You want to sit in your chair, take your popcorns and watch it, and it's a way to be rewarded. That's the main idea with Endless Space.
Your solution is it should be when you capture the enemy castle, it explodes like the Death Star. That should be.
We'll work on that. Then Endless Legend was a bit the same idea, but now it was a bit more complex for us to do the big show with animations and terrain and all that. So one of the key elements for me that was the case already for Endless Space and still the case for Endless Legend, which is not the case anymore, is I'm a big fan of playing my 4Xs with my friends in multiplayer. And the worst thing in the 4X is to wait for your friends because they have 3 battles or 4 battles at the same time, and you had none basically, and you wait for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're just bored to death.
Oh yeah, I fully agree. And also the other problem with that too is when you're doing the battles, you always feel bad because you're making your friends wait.
So the rule that I imposed on these previous games was a battle should not last more than 2 minutes. There were ways to benefit the rule, but it would have been 240, 220, not much more, and often less than that. So it would make it faster, not extremely fast, but faster. Of course, you all have these other ways to skip battles, have auto battles, a lot of ways to go faster. Of course, in multiplayer, but it's kind of sad to go, auto battle. When you have a big battle, you want to watch it. So that works well for multiplayer, but it's only like 10-15% of our players, really playing multiplayer. So for the other 85%, it was just, they didn't have enough control because of that timing issues. So that's what we're trying to fix, and to give full control, make it like a tactical battle. I still want it to be about armies and not units. So I don't want to handle like 30 units on the map and have them fight one by one. Still want to have armies fighting on the map, creating my own armies, deploying them on the map whenever I choose the right battlefield. So I think for me that's still key, but the battles will be a bit longer. But actually, I was surprised to see that they were actually not that much longer. They were longer. So again, we need feedback on that.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know if you'll be able to talk about this yet, but I know that I've heard you guys say that sort of in the later game, if we get into like the World War II era, we might have battles where the front is like an entire country, and I'm curious how you would balance that, both in terms of like the number of things players have to keep track of, and also the amount of time that those battles are going to take.
Well, yeah, you're right. So the way it is right now is you're going to be able to join. It will be not as big as we hoped it would be at first. So that was at Gamescom. That was still my dream at the time. I've got to cut back a bit on it. So basically what happens now is as you get more technology, you can get bigger armies. When you get bigger armies, you have a bigger battlefield. And whenever you have other armies that will join you as reinforcements, that will make your army bigger and they will expand the battlefield. So you can have actually quite big battles actually happening on the map. That could be the equivalent of a few regions. And you can have a few battles side by side on top of that happening. So in that sense, that will definitely lock, that can lock in other countries. And as long as you bring in reinforcements, actually the battle is not really, well, it's not really as long as you bring reinforcement, but if you haven't solved the battles in less than 5 rounds, the battle will continue the next round. So that's why you can actually, a big battle can last a few game turns actually, and it's so that's where you have this World War I feeling of having people pouring like troops and resources in the battle until you run out of population and troops, and suddenly the battle finishes and one wins. And so it's and it's because it will be more of modern questions than early ages questions.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And you do really feel that from a gameplay point of view, like as you're going through Protectorate, especially with the size of the battlefield, and it adds to the feel. So like, I guess in a Neolithic, when you're fighting a bear and you have just a few tiles to fight it in, it feels a lot more claustrophobic, as if you're fighting in a woods and you're hunting like a tribe, I guess. And as things scale up, it starts to feel a lot more, or like pitched battles. I quite like that evolution in not only the gameplay, but I guess what would the word be? The gameplay in a way, but like how your mind interprets the gameplay. That makes sense.
And the way you look, at the battlefield, at the beginning, you look at if there's one hill, when at the end of the games, like you look at a full mountain chain, and and how can you put all your armies on it. So it's interesting to see like the geography, the importance changes, actually the scale changes.
Yeah, of course.
What I think is interesting also is how, I know it's always been important having the high ground, but there's so many levels of high ground.
Yeah.
I think in this scenario, I counted a few places where there's like 5 or 6 different levels of terrain in one small area. Yeah.
There were definitely spots where like I would need 4 turns of movement to move one tile over as the crow flies. Just because there's so much elevation and cliffs and stuff. Yeah.
That's where you want to put your archers.
And when you stick an archer up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, those archers are deadly.
it gives like some cool moments where you can put your shield guard at the bottom of the hill, defending the access on top of it, having your archers finishing off everyone. It's fun. You're having a cavalry trying to go around. Actually, I had one game which was a battle that was amazing in multiplayer. And actually you can also use cover, hide in the forest. You believe you're about to win. You going in the forest, people jump on you actually as they were hiding on it. It's you have so many cool things you can do in the battle that's really can be unexpected. So it's really cool.
And terrain also seems really important for your city placement as well. If you want to defend your city from enemies, you're going to want to find the places where they can't be attacked from so many different directions. There was some really interesting looking places in the first scenario. I was like, oh, if this was competitive against either another player or against the AI, I'd totally put a city right here, because then I could have this choke point and this choke point. So if I ever get threatened and attacked, I know I can bunker down here. The city will be protected, and I'll be I'll pump out archers from it. They can, keep.
You can
just
build
defend
a fortress
really
or two
well
from the city in those choke points.
Yeah.
Even though there was no AI enemy in that first scenario, just looking at the terrain made me think, oh, if there was, this is what I'd do, and that was kind of what I found the most enjoyment in the first scenario was just theory crafting defensive structures and stuff.
Yeah, well, you got to protect against those roving mammoths.
Yes.
Issue war propaganda against the roving mammoths. They're
I apparently got in one of the largest battles. I think there were 4 deer and 3 mammoths attacking me at once.
I think
we had a lot of venison and mammoth burgers. It was very delicious.
I love that too, that we have some fauna in the game that doesn't exist anymore, because it kind of places you in that era in a way that I don't think any other 4X has done before. They're okay, we've got these extinct species, extinct in our time, that are still wandering around. I thought that was a cool touch. You got the big, I think it's is that the Irish elk? Is the really big deer? Is that what they're based on?
Honestly, I think we just took a big elk, but I'm sure it's Irish.
Yeah.
It's Irish. So
yeah,
our
ARC players in chat know what I'm talking about. And Cat O' Ninetails in chat is also mentioning, if you're interested in seeing more about the battles, the next scenario is all focused on battles, and there will be coverage, including on Amplitudes stream tomorrow, to see more of the military side. So definitely go follow that channel if you want to see more.
And normally, I think we should actually release a lot of battle scenarios tomorrow, actually. So yeah, definitely you can actually just, if you are in the open dev, you should be able to test by yourself, actually.
Excellent. Do you have of the ones that have been announced so far, do you have a favorite civilization or a few favorite cultures or civilizations that you like to play a lot internally?
For me, I love the Celts. So it's they actually they have a pretty cool the Nebedum. It's a pretty cool. It's kind of a holy tree and forest that they can build and actually bring a lot of resources there, and they're kind of cool looking as well. So I like the atmosphere. So it's for me it's definitely I love to mix them with the Khmer. The Khmer have some cool things with the rivers. So it's interesting to try to find the combinations you enjoy. And because you could have some good gameplay connections, so that's personally part of the stuff I like. But
Celts are agricultural. Is that right? I can't remember fully. Is it Celts are the agricultural civilization? Is that right? Celts agricultural. Celts agricultural.
Yes. Yeah. Gregorian. Right.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that it's difficult to sort of balance between, if I was going to follow one strategy all the way through, like if I was going to go from one militarist to another militarist to another militarist versus wanting to change it up, is that something that's been difficult to make sure that those are all kind of valid?
I think to do it, you just have to be aggressive along the way, and then I think that would be perfect. But if you do that and you go in peace most of the time, and you don't really use basically the advantage of being militaristic, probably could be a bad choice. And I think this is why we don't always see players doing that. Often what happens, so what I see the most is people saying, okay, what do I want to do next? And try to see where they are at what point they are in gameplay, and from there decide how to get from there, and that's how they decide the culture that would be best. But also sometimes it's availability. Maybe you thought you would pick Ming China, and actually someone else was there before you and took it. I love the Mings and great in science. So will you want to? So then you have to adapt. Say okay, so then that's maybe not how I will have to play. I will have to try to go for something that will be maybe a bit more but building or or whatever. So so sometimes it's adapting as well.
I think for me,
Excellent.
it's always going to be about which of these cultures do I find the most interesting.
Yeah, but you mean historically or gameplay wise?
Historically, mostly.
Yeah.
Though if there's one that I maybe haven't heard of before, then I'll give them a try and have a look through them and stuff. I think a good example of that one is I've always known that the tribe is called the Iroquois, but you've got them called. TJ jumps in with the pronunciation.
Haudenosaunee.
That's the one. I said that. That was actually me saying that. Because I can pronounce everything perfectly first time. It's just a thing I'm good at. But yeah, I had never heard of that before. I'd always just known him as the Iroquois. So it was that would interest me and get me to try them out.
It's a long discussion. Actually, we even tried to contact some other representative of the federation. But we didn't have any answer, so I hope they will be happy with the choice of naming that we picked. But with the three sisters, and you'll see it's quite interesting how they play, and it's basically I think it's part of what we try to do when choosing cultures was a real difficult thing because there's so many you can pick. So it's at first you think, oh, we have 60, we have so many, but then you realize it's just nothing. Okay, so which one will I take?
I think it was I forgot which era it was. I know the classical era we had like an Indian nation, we have a South American, we have an African, several European. There's a Chinese one, so we have an Asian, and then I think the second age. The only Asian one we have are the Huns. Oh, sorry, baby is saying hello to you guys.
Hello.
So
there is also the option to, which is quite interesting because it's kind of a risk-reward thing, right? Where you can select stay with your old culture. Is that right?
So you can stay with it, right?
Yeah. Oh, hello, baby.
Rosebud likes that you can. Yeah, Rosebud likes that you can keep your same culture from one era to the other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
From a gameplay point of view, that's really interesting because it's a very risk-reward thing, right?
Yes, it's all what we hope. So it will be a tricky one to balance, but we hope that by getting more fame on what you do, in the end, it can definitely pay off. Because I think it's what you see from a lot of countries. Well, actually, there's not that many, but for the countries that manage to be around for a long time, if you look at China. does deserve quite a lot of fame. So basically, you can see that actually it's not that many that manage to believe that they've been one country for such a long time. So that's why I wanted to say, okay, what about if we can manage to have a culture that lasts more than an era? It's certainly something that historians will remember. So it needs to be rewarded.
I know
Clearly,
TJ's
the
probably
elite
very
strategy
excited
is.
about the idea of being Viking for the entire game.
I was thinking Babylon, like just straight up Babylon from start to finish.
Oh yeah.
Lambert, I thought you would have taken the peaceful guys, which I always forget their name.
Harapan.
Oh,
I'm not.
Harapan,
Well,
did you turn them into a very warlike civilization?
yeah. So in the press event that I was in, I played as the Harapans, who were historically there's no evidence that they ever had any sort of military. So I took them and I conquered Babylon and Egypt. Brutal, just scorched earth, salt the ground. It was the Romans would have been shocked at my brutality. Yeah, no, there was nothing left. They were gone forever. Playing as the warlike Harapans from start to finish, that's also an option.
It is an option. No one has managed to win yet with that, but it's possible.
Well, I'll have I got 1,700 points in the thing.
Yes. So maybe there'll be one person in the world who can manage to do that. So,
yeah. It should be. It needs to be a Steam achievement for that. I think that's probably it. That's probably the important thing. But stick with the same culture.
No, it's funny because sometimes, especially when you start these kind of challenges, when we say, it's impossible, that everyone will try to do that. And then you just realize you create a game which is all about mixing cultures and everyone's trying to beat it with just one culture from the beginning. Just like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you add like an achievement, right? I think when E3 first added 3 mountains, I think everyone just thought, this is impossible. You can't conquer the oldest Ryukyu. People find a way.
Yeah. Life finds a way. Great strategy players find a way.
People find every possible exploit or every little tiny bit of micro that you can do, and find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Spiff found a way recently to win Civilization 6 without ever founding a city, which was
really
without founding a city.
Without founding one.
Wow.
He stayed with his warrior and settler and managed to win the game. It was very impressive. Something that I don't think I've ever seen anyone do.
If anyone's going to find that way, it's fair. It's Spiff,
Yeah, it's true.
I have a question about OpenDev. Because looking here at the main menu, which I do have pulled up on the screen for people, there's 6 scenarios when last week there were only 5. Hold the Fort has been added since I streamed this last Saturday.
Oh.
Do you think you guys will add more, or was it just always a plan to add the 6th one?
We were hoping to be able to add it, actually. I think the thing is we just want to check how things were going. If with the first scenarios, we just had a shitstorm and stuff, maybe we would have waited, and do something else. But everything is going well. We don't have a lot of big bugs. We have a few, but we already fixed some. So it's going nicely, actually. So we're unlocking, as much as we can, basically. So just giving you a preview of that. Yeah, that will be the last one, but you should not have access to it tomorrow. Don't think so.
Oh, and then Cat of Ninetails is saying that the 4 in the center are actually subparts the second scenario.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see tomorrow.
I mean, it's fairly early yet, but are you guys fairly satisfied with how this is going? Are you getting the feedback you expected? Do you think this is something you'd want to do more of in the future?
It's we have a questionnaire at the end. So we ask actually our players what they feel. So actually, the community managers they sent me today kind of the recap, actually. I think I will share that with you, but because I think it's amazing. It sounds like bragging, actually. But anyway, I'm so happy. So we had actually 50% of the people we set a key that played it. So I'm a bit surprised. I was expecting to see more, but actually the guys that were telling me this is what we're expecting. So we have 5,000 people who played. And out of that, we have... it's like 99 point something percent that would recommend it. So it's definitely not expecting that. There's 100 people basically that's out of 5,000 that would not recommend it. So it's and everyone else is highly recommend, would recommend. So it's incredible. So it's it's extremely positive. And some of the words that come a lot are what people really enjoyed were exploration, city, map, building, exploring again, so game. So it's basically what we had to test, basically discovering outposts and looking at all the big ones. So it's basically I think the economy part, we're extremely happy with it.
Is there any specific piece of feedback that you were surprised by that you've seen cropping up a lot, positive or negative?
Actually, it's the most surprising. It's the positivity, So I'm I was expecting, some people, especially people don't always like change, So when you come, from Legend, if you come from Civ, it's even more different. So I was definitely expecting a bit more. But I think a lot of the players that we have on the first comers, a lot of them are coming from the Endless community. So it's probably also why it's so positive. But it's cool.
Yeah, that's the biggest negative for me coming from the Endless Legend thing is where's my giant bugs? Where are my cities right around on giant bugs? I want my Babylonian city on giant bugs.
The feeling people play the hunts all along the game, actually. So
I think so. Yeah. Huns to Mongols to. Yeah.
You could just put them on backs of giant turtles. I think there's a number of legends about those.
Yeah. There's mammoths about, so
Wow. The mammoths are big enough.
Yeah. Put a hut somewhere. Put a little tent on the back of the mammoth.
I want to be able to tame the mammoths and just have mammoth cavalry going forward for the rest of the game.
We can either eat them or we can use them as war mounts. I know which one I like Wolfric, as much as the next guy. So let's
Wolfric's
tame him.
Great. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, come on, modders. This is what we need.
Well, Romain, before we let you go, how do people get involved in open dev, and what, other than listening to this show, how can they kind of follow the development of Humankind and what you guys are up to?
So anyone who wants to get involved, the best way is to go to the Games Together website, so gamestogether.com, and basically you have access to all the information. You can actually upvote features, elements you wanted to improve the game. You'll be able to submit ideas. So it's a really cool way for us to interact with our players, and basically there's a lot of content that coming all the time. Every week, we try to add new stuff for everyone to follow us.
And also, just a shameless plug, get involved in the What If campaign, right?
Actually, you're right. It's actually what my community managers wanted me to tell you. So if you want to get involved, there's this What If campaign right now. So it's quite cool. You can create your own memes if you want, and all about if you were to change something in history, what would it be? So the cool thing is, I think we'll all have a say in that. So it's can make some pretty cool game with their own meme editor. So it's quite cool.
Agamade is asking in chat, what is the current theme on the What If?
The current theme, basically, what comes the most?
The current theme is social, I think.
That's for next week, yeah.
Next week, yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Last week
anything else you wanted to share with our listeners before we wrap up?
Basically, I hope you guys will be able to get into the open dev, give us feedback, and I can't wait basically to play the game multiplayer with some of you. I hope and that's it.
Yeah.
Soon.
I'll be up for that.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the game. We're definitely excited to check out some more of these scenarios.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're certainly welcome back. Whenever.
Whatever.
Been a pleasure.
A pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye bye all.
Take care. Bye.
See you
Cheers.
later.
Yeah, cheers.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, so that was Romain from Amplitude. He is the the head of the studio and the creative director for Humankind. And we'll have all those links in chat if you're watching this live, and in the show notes later if you're watching this at a different time, so you can figure out how to get involved. You can make some funny comics if you want to follow in the footsteps of our illustrious father Loris as part of that What If contest. Yeah, Loris, do you have a favorite one that you didn't make recently from the What If contest?
It's all those little watercolor ones, but I've been there's a person making them. They're still all my favorites.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, we also have a couple of Paradox Dev Diaries to talk about before we wrap up today, including one on performance optimization in CK3, written by Meneth, friend of the show. I believe, yes, he is in chat. Yeah.
Which CK3 also had their first stream today of gameplay footage, which was quite exciting.
Right.
I think there was some
didn't get a
incest.
chance to tune into that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 11 minutes in already, we're banging our sister. It's peak CK, and to have peak CK happen only 11 minutes into the first CK3 stream, it puts my mind at ease, really, that this is going to be something that I can't finish it. Oh my god!
Sleep with Glitterhoof, because there is no Glitterhoof, which is a tragedy.
There is no Glitterhoof yet. Yet. Yeah.
It's Paradox game. It can be modded. Don't worry about it.
If Glitterhoof does not arrive when we get horse swords, I think my heart will be broken.
It will be one of the first things I'll add, for sure. Bound to be.
Yeah, don't go breaking our hearts. Yeah. So
Alfred, I did not say that. I did not say that.
The incest puts my mind at ease. Lambert, August 2020. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a question that I definitely had going into CK3 is how is it going to perform compared to CK2? Anecdotally, I didn't run a lot of analytics on the build that I played back in April or whatever that was, but it seemed like Speed 5 was a lot faster than Speed 5 in CK2. I think the system Meneth originally tested on, it was about the same, which is pretty impressive by itself considering how much more graphically demanding CK3 is. Was there anything in particular in this dev diary that really stuck out to you guys?
Well, it's I'm always kind of interested, not particularly in the dev diary, but how many people play at different speeds. So I wonder if Paradox has got any data on that, how many people play. There's basically two play styles, right? There's a way of you 5 speed and then you pause when something important happens, or you play at a set speed for a set period of time. I'm just wondering,
there's such different experiences.
I usually play Speed 4 and Speed 5 and then pause.
See, I'm a real boring old man that sits at Speed 2 and just watches the world go by.
Yeah, I'll play Speed 4 or 5 at peace, and then if I'm at war, depending on how many things are going on at once, I will drop it down to 2 or 3 usually. If it's a huge war with multiple fronts and lots of different opponents and lots of different areas of conflict to manage, I might go down to 3 or 2.
Yeah.
Size of war inversely scales with how fast I play the game. Bigger the war, the slower the game.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm in the minority of people who play constantly at a very low speed. So I think this sort of thing is going to be helpful for the vast majority of people who use Speed 5 a lot, right?
Well, I don't think
I can respect that.
Looking at the videos that he's got here, I don't think I'm ever going to be using Speed 5 in CK3 because that is just a bit too fast.
Yeah, like Speed 5 seems like it's just like, especially on like a newer Ryzen processor, it's just blazing fast. I mean, if I have to wait a long time for something to finish, which isn't as much of an issue, it seems like in CK3, because you don't have to wait like 4 years for a claim anymore. I
will say as well, though, having a faster processor seemingly also means that your Holy Roman Empire is much more volatile.
Huh.
I don't know if that actually there's a causal relationship there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just going to say that it is.
We can see a correlation with 2 points of data. So obviously, we should just take that as gospel.
Yeah, we should.
Meneth in chat is saying that Speed 5 on his new CPU is just unplayably fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that in the chat below as well.
Upgrade when I was playing CK2, and then I upgraded my PC once I started streaming and stuff, and Speed 5 changed. Like, it got so fast, I didn't know how I could play.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
So I wonder if people are going to adapt with CK3.
I'm such a dullard that Speed 4 is too fast for my brain to process. So Speed 2 is a bit much sometimes, to be honest.
As we all get older and stupider, we're just going to continue to drop the speed down.
We'll be like geriatrics playing at a speed
for yourself
and pausing.
Yeah.
But it's nice that they're using more than one core. Please read the sarcasm in the voice there.
No previous Paradox game used any more than one core ever.
It's just not a thing.
Just ask people on the forums; they'll tell you. They know exactly how all this works.
Reddit's even better for big brain takes on there.
Oh yeah, all the smartest people are on Reddit.
Yeah,
that's why I'm on Reddit, because I'm very smart.
What I think is this is the few times we've actually seen the full map all the way across. I can think of. Maybe there's only one time.
They haven't shown it to us very often.
Not while it's been playing, but we have seen the full map before.
Which I don't know about y'all, but I can't wait to get my hands on this game.
You know what?
No, I'm not excited. I'm not excited at all.
Nah, just pretty chill about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. It's not like this is the one thing I've been waiting for all year. No.
I mean,
the other cool thing,
I'll be hyped when they rename the Byzantine Empire to the Roman Empire. Just saying.
Yeah, I'll be hyped.
I will make a mod for you day one that relocalizes that.
Somebody's probably going to beat you to it at the same time.
That'll take like a minute, like 1 minute. It will take longer to upload that to the Steam Workshop. Well, it'll take a little bit longer for me maybe to figure out how the localization files work now, because I'm not sure if they're going to be exactly the same as CK2, but making mods that relocalize names of tags is extremely easy. The other interesting thing they mentioned, they've changed a little bit how the AI works to make them less frustrating. Like, if the AI knows that they're gonna lose, if they know there's like no hope, they'll basically just take the best defensive position available to them and make a final stand instead of trying to run away forever.
Yeah,
that's such a big quality of life improvement for me. I hate chasing little stacks around my own territory.
This is
that
super
was
interesting.
One of the best things when they finally added locking of troops with Holy Fury was the fact you didn't have to chase this army across your vast empire for 2 years when you could just defeat them in battle in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I just thought I won't need the mod because you can rename your empires. So I just rename it myself. Sorry to just bring it back.
You have to play as them every time, though, Lambert.
Play as them, tag switch, back to me thing. It's all right.
Instantly rename.
So you're not going to try for the achievements like you did with Imperator?
Probably not, no.
Play Iron Man?
Probably not. I don't know why I didn't play Iron Man in CK2.
I didn't do much Iron Man in CK2 either. It doesn't feel like an achievement hunting game to me.
If I know I'm going for something that's going to be in like 3 or 4 centuries time, like I'm playing as this guy. He's not going to live then, so it's not really. It didn't really feel right. I'm just gonna say that that's the excuse.
Yeah. I think I'll probably end up playing Iron Man more in CK3 than I did in CK2. Partly because, I mean, my streams I've been doing lately of EU4 and also Total War to some degree, I've forced myself to push through situations where in single player I would have just Alt F4'd and started over. And I'm kind of learning, I'm kind of unlearning that behavior. Like, I'm kind of learning that it's okay, like to have the, like, oh, I just had 3 large nations declare war on me unexpectedly and I didn't see it coming. Normally I would have been like, screw this. I'm just going to kick my computer out the window. But now I'm learning to be like, okay, stop. Take a breath. Is this winnable? If it's not, how do we minimize the damage? Like, don't get like so not getting so spun up by these unexpected turns of fortune that I just don't want to continue. And I think it's actually making me appreciate these games more that I'm unlearning that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll play a bit more Iron Man in CK3.
One of the loading screens for EU4 is says one of the tips is don't be afraid to lose. You can always take it back later, and that's like for the vast majority of people, that's a big lie. People don't lose in these games.
Yeah.
Well, TJ and Lambert, here's a challenge for y'all before you can play CK3. You said about, the achievements, it doesn't feel right because they're so far away to take so many generations to achieve. There is one achievement that only takes 1 generation, and if your character dies, you fail the achievement.
Does it get married? I don't have that one.
No, a servant no more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You start as the poor snipped guy.
That's it.
And you've got to become an emperor or a king with a certain number of facets. Let me see. I don't remember. That was a very stressful one.
Yeah, I imagine, because if you dropped
being
at any
snipped
point...
does sound pretty stressful.
Sorry, you can
you can
pre-snipped, so...
What if? Well, hang on. But couldn't you marry somebody who's like lustful and deceitful and just?
Nope, you can't get married once you've had the snip.
Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting. Oh, yeah. That would be that would be a fun one.
Seduction focus. Just pray to the devil.
Oh, yeah.
I think these 2 were my 2 favorite achievements: Servant No More and Aladdin.
I would love somebody who doesn't know who Munisal Muzaffar is to be like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then you load into the game as him and you're like, oh. Oh.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know.
I think most people probably would not know before they actually decided to go for that achievement.
I will say, though, I'm currently hardcore in the paradox area. Where playing CK2, I love the game, but I can't right now because it's like, but this looks so much better in CK3, and I just
like I want that hair. I want that beautiful hair that you get for the highest Monarch's Journey milestone. Yeah, it's like I can't. It's less than a month away. I can't make myself play CK2 right now.
Can I just throw some money at Paradox to get all of those hairs?
I imagine you will probably be able to eventually. They will probably release it as a DLC eventually.
Yeah.
But
well, I've had the problem for the past, I don't know, over half a year of playing CK2 was only really fun when it was either a multiplayer or it was like a succession game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm kind of like, I'm going to escape. So I'm actually really enjoying my last playthrough.
I've always been in a situation where I only find multiplayer fun. So it's like, and I think all my friends have got the same thing where we're just looking forward to CK3 though. So we never put up CK2.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like what Meneth is describing in this diary, that the way that updates work now is going to make it way less prone to out of syncs.
Yes.
which will be great.
Very
for multiplayer.
welcome.
Very, very
Yeah.
much welcome. Do you remember
Yeah.
CK2 on launch? Was desyncs in that? My goodness. Desync every 2 seconds.
Yeah,
I wasn't around on launch.
yeah. I don't think it was really all that playable in multiplayer.
No, I
I
think it
didn't
was.
play it in multiplayer until like 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't know anyone else that played the game.
I think the first time I did like a serious CK2 multiplayer was like around the time the Republic came out, and it was still
Yeah.
volatile.
Yeah, I think
that might have even still been back in the meta server days.
I think it was actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Playing over
yeah.
Hamachi, and I think the Republic was specifically bad because, like, if you had
Yeah.
like too many people in the Republic of multiplayer, I remember there was crashes and desyncs associated to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Republic multiplayer could be awesome, Cianticraft is saying. If you had multiple heads of families in the same Republic scheming against each other.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Here's
that's
the-
a
that's
really
the thing.
fun idea for a multiplayer, but it goes bad so quick.
And also, well, you tend to like have agreements where you're not piling your money into the elections, which is the big money sink for republics.
Yeah.
So you become very powerful very
Keep money out of politics, I think, is a pretty good idea for multiplayer and also real life.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
that Venice completely clean money-free politics in Venice?
Just be a proper feudal ruler and let God decide. Just money BS,
I mean,
Yeah.
if money was in politics back then, as CK2 kind of wants you to believe, then why has there never been a dual, supreme doge that is also emperor of the Holy Roman Empire?
Do you know what would be cool whenever they do put merchant republics in CK3? Is if you're, instead of it being set to seniority or whatever they call it, republic seniority, have it be spaced on sort of the Federation system in Stellaris, so that you can choose who gets to rule the Republic. Is it the oldest, or is it the person who puts the most money in? Is it the person who can fight the best?
Yeah. Or a psionic duel, of course.
Clearly, it's got to
Yes.
be prestige.
Is
Yeah,
it the person who
it's just
made the
these
most babies? I don't
These
know.
two old Venetian men sitting across from each other with like their fingers on their temples trying to psychically attack each other.
No, I want like
Like,
a Kirk versus Spock type battle with
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I the one thing I hope that they put back in eventually is the ability to duel your siblings for their lands that the pagans in Elective Gavelkind have in CK2. I kind of miss that playing. I think I'll kind of miss that playing as like a Viking in CK3, because I can't just challenge my brother to a duel and take his titles. So, I don't know. I'm not sure that that's not in, but it wasn't in the build that I played, so I hope they bring that back eventually. Yeah, anything else about this dev diary before we talk about EU4 real quick?
Meneth had quite a lot of patience with some rather rude people on forums in the comments. So, congrats to him for holding his temper, because
yeah.
I certainly swore at them in my video. Just saying.
I didn't even read the comments on that one. I'm kind of glad that I didn't. Yeah. Hey, I mean, I get that, like, if you've been playing Paradox games on a potato for like 20 years and now suddenly you can't, that's kind of frustrating. But yeah, be nice. Like,
Well, I remember when CK2
Yeah.
first came out, it wouldn't even
Yeah.
play on my laptop. I downloaded the demo.
Yeah.
Would not
Yeah.
work. And it
Yeah.
happens. Games move on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, EU4, we got a dev diary about Ayutthaya, one of my favorite countries to play this week. They're going to have a lot of the similar stuff we've seen with other Southeast Asian nations, where they get missions that give them tributary CBs and stuff like that.
I think you've got the wrong one.
Got. Oh, am I? a week
Yeah,
behind?
last week was Ayutthaya. This week is Khmer.
Okay, I thought. See, the forums, the new forums are very not fun to navigate when I'm trying to find the
Well,
latest dev diary.
That's why Lambert kindly shares the link in our little Discord
I'm good like that.
in the game
Listen,
announcements channel. I mean, you have to
all
go
right.
back through all the glorious CK3 news that's come out in the last like 2 days.
Yeah,
Including-
that's what you're gonna
probably why I
blame, isn't
missed
it?
including One Proud Bavarian's awesome tutorial videos about CK3. If you haven't
Right.
checked them out.
Yeah, shout out to we haven't had him on the show yet, have we?
No, I
we
really
should.
think we
We need to
should.
Yeah.
We need to get One Proud Bavarian on here. He's like, I think he's been on the potential guest list forever, and we just haven't extended the hand yet. Yeah.
I think once embargo ends and he can actually talk about the playing he's been doing to make these tutorials.
Yeah, I
Oh,
imagine he's
that's right.
probably
Okay, yeah,
under
this-
embargo right now.
Yeah.
This is the
We have-
this is the dev diary about my favorite MMO, Dark Age of Cambodia. Yeah.
It's another one of these empires that have
Someone
a
in
pretty
chat-
big
someone in
negative
chat
right
will
at the
get that
start of the game as well, just like Ayataya did.
Yeah. Again, we're seeing this sort of like, we're going to start you off in a really bad situation and you have to deal with it, sort of thing. And then also getting a lot of unique estate privileges as well, like being able to develop tropical provinces easier, which will be nice if you are wanting to compete with the Europeans to colonize the rest of the nearby trade nodes. What anything particular that excites you guys about the commit? I think it's actually, I've been told multiple times by people in my chat that it's Khmer, not Khmer. So I'll try to say that.
Oh, is it?
correctly.
I don't know that.
Yeah. So
Why is it becoming a
Yeah.
rouge then? Or is that also wrong?
that's probably also wrong.
Yeah, more than likely.
yeah. So anything about this dev diary? Yeah.
More estates, I think, is going to be the interesting thing. I think
Yeah.
there are new estates, at least. The merchant guilds and the monastic orders, they certainly do seem quite interesting. Looking forward to seeing more about the various estates that we can play with.
These the advanced irrigation techniques and Brahmins at court seem pretty powerful. They don't seem to have any disadvantage, right? So it's just a flat local development cost decrease for grain,
Yeah,
which is nice.
definitely with the 0,0,0,0. Yeah, for the
Yeah,
that's
so you may as well
it's
just
an
have it full
auto
game.
pick, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There's no disadvantage that I can see anyway.
Yeah. I also like that they're giving they're giving most of the major nations in this area a take the mandate mission, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Did they say what Defy China is actually going to be? Because I know
Probably breaking away from
What-
being a tributary, I would say.
Yeah, because I know was it which one was it where you had to blockade their entire coast before you
I
can take
think
the
that was
mandate?
Majapahit.
That was
Yes,
it. Yeah, that was
was.
Majapahit. That's right. Yeah. So, that's I like that a lot. I like getting unique estate privileges a lot. I wish they would, or I hope they will extend that to more areas of the map. So, yeah.
Holy Roman Emperor of the Roman Empire, and the Mandate of Heaven all at the same time. That's the meta strat now. First, you got to pay you.
So
Ming,
you're
of
going to
course.
immediately do a video on that and show it off, right?
Yeah, sure. Nah, too hard to find a thumbnail for that. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, your wife makes such lovely thumbnails. She'll find you something.
She doesn't find the things to put in the thumbnail. That's my
Sorry,
job.
you'll find
she-
some things, and she'll make them look glorious, even if you think they're ridiculous.
Pretty much, yeah. It's fairly accurate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was also the one where they start out with plus 25% power cost, but then if they get the second Golden Age mission, they get minus 25% for 20 years, which sounds like insanely powerful. It's only temporary. but that's pretty crazy to get minus 25% power cost for 20 years. I guess it only ends up being profitable if you accomplish that mission in less than 20 years. Because otherwise you're going to be stuck with the plus 25 for longer than you get the minus 25. But
I bet someone's going to just stack up a bunch of, go way behind in tech. So they've got like a negative 50 modifier on their tech costs, and then just, finish that mission, then take like 20 techs all at once.
I was thinking with deving up, like imagine after you get, if you get the mandate and you get the, economic ideas, everything, and get some universities, you can reduce the power costs for your deving to like a few admin points. Just splurge and just get 100 development from like nothing.
Of course.
Yeah. Why not? That's not bad.
So how long will it take Flory to do that?
Couple days.
Depends if there's a really hard achievement that comes along with the update. It'll do that first.
Yeah.
True.
I think so.
Yeah. He's just gonna move his infantry up against the border and like vibrate through a wall like a speedrunner and exit the disaster. He's gonna skip the disaster, and then just have medium tanks from Hearts of Iron 4 somehow.
Yeah, so somehow becomes a horde.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh man, wouldn't it be interesting to have like a horde, but like it's like a mechanized horde, like they live on tanks.
I mean,
just move around.
Play Synthetic Dawn.
No, why don't you just have to live on mammoths? You don't need tanks.
Mammoths. You could have both. You could have like armored mammoths with like howitzer cannons on them.
Well,
mecha mammoths.
There is this civilization.
How would they hold up to the stress of that?
With the mecha
Like when you
part?
fire the howitzer, wouldn't like the mammoth disintegrate?
Thousands of years of selective breeding mammoths that can carry,
Naturally.
Mecha mammoths. Yeah. Oh yeah, you could just make them out of mechs.
Yeah.
You're basically describing the roving clans from Edge's Legend, where he's like weird mechanical bug things. Yeah.
And we come around full circle.
Yeah.
Or
I own Endless Legend, but I've actually never played it.
You should. It's really good.
Like half the games in my library.
It's wonderful.
That's the thing of Steam, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's got like at least half the games haven't been played.
Yeah, I should count up what my unplayed games on Steam is at this point.
There's a site that does it for you. I don't remember what it is though.
Yeah.
TJ, earlier during Humankind, you mentioned how the scenarios cut. They've left parts out, like civics and such, so you can figure out the game better or easier.
Yeah.
That I opened up Endless Space to play it several years ago. I don't know. I bought it when like long time ago, and I couldn't figure out the UI at that time, and so I closed it and I never opened it again.
Yeah, Endless Space is kind of daunting the first time through. Just figuring out everything you need to figure out. Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of a lot of Paradox games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, any final thoughts on our EU4 Dev Diary before we get out of here for the day?
Well, I would say there's something else that needs to be talked about a little bit, and that is that we're Mount Texas is pretty close to being kind of out, and I can play it, and it's very complicated. Very, very complicated. Yeah, they've got a really interesting new trade system that it's going to take me a very well, again says shot. Look, I held my tongue, but it needs to be said. Very interesting new trade system, and just interesting new systems for everything. And it's going to take me a long time to get a
series of tutorial videos on it.
Not so much tutorial videos, but I had a little bit of an interview kind of style thing going on with one of the developers, Fire Kahuna. And it was like, okay, we'll get in. I'll share my screen on Discord so you can see what I'm doing, and then just talk about the things that have changed between Mayo and Texas 2.5 and 3.0. I was thinking, it'd be, nice 20 to 30 minute video, get it out there. Hopefully it'll do well. And we got to about an hour, and I'm like, okay, we've got to put a cut in here. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more to talk about, so we'll be back again. And the next day we recorded for another hour. So I've got 4 videos of things that are changing between 2.5 and 3.0. And there's not really much wasted time either. There's just 2 hours worth of just new stuff. And damn. It's huge. It's really huge.
Yeah, I need to get back into it. As soon as it's coming out, I think I'll get back into it.
Yeah, it's like Total War Troy and CK3 are coming out so soon that I'm like, man, I hope I can make time for it. Like, I hope I can make time to learn it. But yeah. On that note, Lambert, what else have you been up to, and where can people find your MAO, you and Taxes, and other content?
So I've been, in my free time, I've been playing my own Taxes 3.0, trying to understand it so that I can, do a Let's Play of my own without it being terrible. Because of not understanding how to play. That's what I'm doing in my free time. But for YouTube right now, I've got a series playing as the Ottomans in the 1356 mod, which is basically Mayo and Tax's map, but with vanilla gameplay, which is going. It's okay. There's a lot of coalitions going on, so if you want to figure out how to defeat coalitions, I have one every 10 or so years, so come and have a look at that, I guess. I've got those 4 videos, or there's 3 that are out so far. There's going to be another one tomorrow about all the changes coming in Mayo and Taxes 3.0. And as soon as we stop the podcast, I'm going to go and record the Humankind
it's not
things.
actually up that I saw, because I did have Humankind open.
Maybe
No,
I'll
it's
do it tomorrow
though.
then. Yeah. I'll go to bed instead, maybe. But I'll be doing that very soon. That'll be up on the channel as well. So you can find that on YouTube. Lord Lambert over there.
Excellent. Rose, what have you been up to, and where can people find your stuff?
So currently I'm more active on YouTube. I've got a CK2 video going up every other day at the moment until, can get my hands on CK3 and share that. Sort of a last farewell to a game that has done us well for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've also been playing the Humankind Open Dev, just like Lambert, and I'll be recording that tomorrow and getting that up on my own channel so you can see 2 different perspectives on it. Because I know Lambert and I play very differently.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
You play faster than I do,
be,
judging by the length of your video for the first scenario.
I also played that. That was the second time I played through that scenario because the first time, the game audio drowned out my voice.
Audio
It's
balancing
glorious
is
music,
a scourge of
but-
my existence.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been 8 years. There's adults in the world today that were 10 when CK2 was released. So
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I think some of them might be in our chat. Yeah,
I mean, it's a bit of a stretch to call an 18-year-old an adult.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
I mean, they can't even
we
drink
should-
in TJ and Rose's country.
Oh yeah, of course. Like, what do they even do?
You can't buy cigarettes at 18 now either. They changed that at the beginning.
What the
of
hell?
2020.
Which
It's 21 for booze and cigarettes
Oh
now.
my god.
Hey, join the army instead while you wait.
Yeah.
you join the army,
exactly.
you can vote. Hey, you can vote. Be a responsible citizen if you're 18 and go vote this fall. I don't care who you vote for. Just
what's
go
it-
vote.
What do 18-year-olds actually do?
They
if
play
can't
Go to
Fortnite.
college and they go to
You go
college
to-
and they still end up getting
Yeah.
doing drink. Yeah, they still end up drinking and stuff. They just get older people
Yeah.
to buy the booze for them.
Man, can you imagine being at
Exactly.
university and having someone else buy booze for you? It just seems like
Though
so.
Crazy.
in some states it's only illegal for someone to for someone under 21 to purchase. So it is legal if like your parents give you a beer or something.
Yeah, in Colorado, your parents can give you, or your parent or legal guardian can give you alcohol on the premises of your own home specifically. They can't like order you a beer at a restaurant, but they can bring beer home and give it to you, and they're not breaking the law, and you're not breaking the law.
See,
as long as you stay on your own property.
See, the popular pub where I went to school in Ireland was owned by a retired police officer, and after we'd finished our junior cert, so we were about 14, we went and celebrated by having a drink at that pub, and he served absolutely everyone without any 14, 13-year-olds. It just wasn't a thing that people gave a damn about in Ireland.
That hot fuzz thing where like there's British pubs filled with children, that is legit. That is something that happens like in every little village and community in Britain. I think if you go to the cities, maybe not, but like, you know.
Agamade, you may quote that as being, you know, a bit of a joke, but that's it's Ireland. So yeah.
No, same for me.
Look, a village isn't a village unless it's got more pubs than houses. Yeah,
if a pub doesn't have a children's corner where people are drinking, it's not a real pub.
Sandpit out the back, innit?
Exactly. Yeah.
Full of cigarette butts.
Put a little ball pool in the corner with drunk 14-year-olds.
Jumping back to like the late 60s, early 70s in France, my grandparents and of course my mom and my aunts and uncles, they all lived in Berlin, and they were on vacation in France, and they were all allowed a little tiny bit of a liqueur or something, just a toast or a sip of wine or something. And my 9-year-old uncle finished his and held up his glass. My grandparents didn't notice, and the waitstaff were like, "Okay," and they just refilled it.
Oh no! Oh no!
So he got drunk at 9 years old.
Yeah,
amazing.
That does not surprise me.
And that was when they crossed back. Maybe they were in West Germany at the time, but then they crossed back through the border to get to East Germany to go back to Berlin. That was the only time the border guards did not make them take apart their VW bus and search every cranny, because they took one look at this hungover 9-year-old who looks like he's about to spew all over their shiny boots, and they just said, "Nope, go."
Yeah.
Nine is a little bit too young. I mean, at least wait until
that
what
is
I did
very
at
much
11.
too young.
Yeah.
So if you ever need to cross a border checkpoint with a bunch of illegal stuff, just bring a drunk 9-year-old with you. That's what we're saying. We're advocating that behavior.
That's not what
on
we're
this
saying.
Show, right?
No,
don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't bring a hungover one either. No.
Yeah.
It's way too young.
Loris, what have you been up to? Where can people find your stuff?
Apart from catching up on drinking, I guess, I've been mostly fixing my stuff, like my website, because a lot of things are broken. Because I'm not very good at programming. It's all a big hot mess of PHP and broken things and cookies that don't quite work and caching that doesn't exist. Oh, it's a hot mess. So I'm fixing that up, and then I'm releasing a comic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
sorry, TJ.
ahead.
I wasn't quite done plugging before we got totally on tangent, Bill.
Go for it. Yeah.
Just saying, on Saturday I'll be playing this newest open dev scenario. So if anyone comes to hang out and chat and wants me to show certain menus, open things up longer, they're more than welcome.
Excellent.
I might stream it on the NoCB cast Twitch, actually, so that we can maybe hit affiliate.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are welcome at any time to stream on this channel, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man, I can't wait to do my first stream here. It's going to be just a right shit show.
Yeah,
that's good.
Just do some art.
Fine.
Yeah. Also, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, plugs. I am still streaming over on Lore Sworn Order on Twitch. We are just about to wrap up our Eve for Brittany run in Emperor. We're kind of in the late 1700s sprint to the finish thing there. We might finish that this Saturday. If not, we'll find another way to do it. I can't really say why we might not do it on Saturday. I can't really talk about anything that I'm going to be doing the next 2 weeks yet, to be honest with you. But yeah, Paradox is cool. So is Total War. Those are two things that I'm interested in as a person, as a gamer, as a pro gamer. Yeah. So and then
you just call yourself
Wednesday
a pro
night,
gamer?
Oh, I am a pro gamer. That's a pro gamer move.
I mean,
yeah.
do you have Doritos?
I do not have Doritos.
Well, then you're not a pro
Do you
gamer.
have Mountain Dew?
You're right.
Rockstar?
I'm found out. I'm a fraud. I don't have a Monster Energy drink in one hand and a bag of Doritos in the other hand right now, so clearly I'm not a pro.
Technically, all three of you are pro gamers, right? Because you all play video games for money. I think that's fair.
No,
Yeah,
I would
mean-
say that the recording and putting up on YouTube is the bit that I do for money. It doesn't have to be a game.
Yeah.
Sometimes I read dev diaries for money.
Yeah.
You're a pro reader.
Yeah.
I'm an influencer.
Oh my
God, I
goodness,
hate that
what a
word.
disgusting word.
I
Yeah.
hate that so
Ew.
much.
If any was influenced by any of us, please stop being influenced by us.
Yeah.
We are a bad influence.
Unless
real.
you're being influenced to not give alcohol to a 9-year-old. Please don't do that.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
least wait
that's
for
the
14.
one
Except
way
our
that we're-
influence
It might have been
that.
acceptable in the early 1900s to rub whiskey on the gums of kids to stop them from teething. It's not acceptable anymore.
Oh, God.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
A lot of things are not acceptable. You would not believe the advice I'm getting from my 80-year-old grandfather on what to do, because he's like, oh, we did that with your dad. Yeah, but you also didn't have car seats for babies in the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. The thing I can talk about is that tonight, 1 hour after this podcast ends, roughly. Actually, we're past that point now, but 55 to 45 minutes after this podcast ends, we're playing. We're still playing Dark Souls on our Wednesday night thing, our non-strategy stream, and we're continuing our historical topic from last week, which is World War One. If you want to come watch me die a bunch of times and hear someone smarter than me talk about World War One for a while, yeah, follow the podcast, all that good stuff. Yeah, maybe we'll do some more streams on this channel so we can actually get affiliate, and you guys can throw bits at us. That's always a
Maybe
good time.
TJ will actually put stuff up on YouTube.
You know
If
what?
we become affiliate, then
Probably
he's going to
not.
do it.
You know what? You know what? Probably not. I don't want to do it. I'll just say it now. I don't want to do it. Probably not going to do it. All right. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Try.
Bye,
Yeah.
guys.